One last word, which is, I hope this is my last time at this podium, at least for a little while. I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean, the only thing that would bring me back is an unexpected event in the next few days, which, as you all know, is totally possible given everything you've seen over the course of the past years. But if it is, in fact, my last time before you, I just want to say thank you for what you guys do every day. Thank you for putting up with me.
This is my video update on this Wednesday midday, January the 15th, coming to you from Larnaca, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with ATACMS missile strikes into pre-2014 Russian territory, into the Bryansk region. The reports are that the United States and the Alinsky regime, they launched 6 ATACMS missiles into Bryansk, and I believe 8 Storm Shadow missiles into pre-2014 Russian territory, as well as a lot of drones launched into Russia. And the Russian Ministry of Defense claims that the missiles were shot down and the damage done from this long-range missile strike was minimal, and the damage was from missile debris, not from the actual missiles hitting targets. The Ukraine side of things, they are claiming that this was a successful strike into pre-2014 Russian territory. How many ATACMS does Ukraine have left? That's an interesting question to think about. How many ATACMS do they have left? A month ago, it was either the New York Times or the Washington Post reported that the Biden White House had given Alinsky 500 ATACMS missiles. That's what they gave the Alinsky regime. That's a lot of freaking ATACMS, man. That is a lot of ATACMS. And the Washington Post was reporting that of the 500 ATACMS given by Bidenopolis to the Green Goblin, Ukraine was down to 50 ATACMS, from 500 to 50, if you believe the reporting from the Collective West media. And that was about a month ago, maybe even a little over a month ago. So the question is, how many ATACMS does the Ukraine military have left? They launched another 6 yesterday, and I believe in the last month, they must have launched in the last month about 20, 25 ATACMS missile strikes into pre-2014 Russian territory. They probably have 20 ATACMS left, 15 ATACMS missiles left. How many Storm Shadows do they have left? Storm Shadow Scout missiles. The UK and France, they have not disclosed how many missiles they gave to the Alinsky regime. I don't think they've disclosed the numbers, but they can't have many Storm Shadow and Scout missiles left either. Anyway, big missile strikes from the United States into pre-2014 Russian territory. The crossing, once again, of the long-range missile strike red line into Russia. And this morning, we had reports of Russia launching huge missile strikes throughout Ukraine. Now, I don't know if this is in retaliation to yesterday's ATACMS strikes into Russia, or if this was already planned. But we had very big missile strikes into Ukraine, targeting the energy infrastructure. And Ukraine's energy company, they have already issued warnings of the energy grid being hit and being damaged. So I imagine we may be getting more blackouts announced by the Ukraine energy company throughout Ukraine. And the interesting part about these missile strikes, here's the interesting part. They weren't only targeting the Ukraine energy grid, but they also hit Lviv. They were actually targeting in Lviv the big gas storage facility. This is the massive underground bunker gas storage facility where the European Union stores a whole lot of their gas before it enters the EU. And the missiles were targeting this storage facility as well. That's bad news for the EU if damage was done to this gas storage facility. This is not the first time that the Russians have fired missiles into this area. The last time they launched missiles in this area, I believe it was more of a warning strike. But maybe as the day goes along, we'll get information if these missiles actually did damage to the gas storage facility in Lviv. So that was the Russian missile strike from this morning. So Alinsky, he is saying that, should we go for a walk? Let's go for a little bit of a walk. Alinsky is saying that he will not mobilize 18-year-olds. He was having a meeting with the German defense minister, the very hawkish German defense minister Pistorius, who made a surprise visit to Kiev. And Alinsky said no mobilization of 18-year-olds until we get more weapons. Alinsky wants more weapons. Weapons means money for the Alinsky regime and Alinsky officials. So they want more weapons, more money. If they don't get more weapons, then he said he is not going to go ahead with the mobilization of 18-year-olds, even though he is getting a lot of pressure from the United States, from the EU, from the Biden White House, from the incoming Trump administration as well, to mobilize 18-year-olds. Now, if Alinsky mobilized 18-year-olds, he understands that he would be under a lot of pressure from the citizens of Ukraine. They would be very upset if he were to mobilize 18-year-olds. His administration may even crumble, may fall apart if he goes ahead with the mobilization. Now, Putin, back in June, he said that the United States, they're keeping the illegitimate Zelensky in as president. Russia sees him as illegitimate. They're keeping him in power so he can complete this one task, which is the mobilization of 18-year-olds. Once he green lights the mobilization, then the United States will be done with Alinsky. They'll be able to dispose of him. That's what Putin said back in June. Of course, Alinsky talks about weapons. He wants more weapons, but most of the collective West, they really do not have any more weapons to give him. That's just the truth of the matter. Most of the collective West has been demilitarized, with the exception of the United States. But even the United States is running low. 500 ATACMS. 500 ATACMS they gave to Ukraine, and Alinsky's pretty much burned through all of those ATACMS. And to what effect? What did the ATACMS accomplish? Nothing. Nothing at all. So Patrushev, he gave an interview to Russian media the other day. Patrushev is very high up in the Russian government, very close to Russian President Vladimir Putin. So when he talks everyone should listen, Nikolai Patrushev. And he told Russian media that Russia is only interested in negotiations with the United States. There is absolutely no need to negotiate with the EU, no need to negotiate with the UK. They do not need to be present at the negotiating table. The only country that matters in negotiations is the United States. This is what Patrushev said. He also said that in 2025, he believes that Ukraine will collapse. Top Putin aide says Ukraine could collapse in 2025. Moscow sees no point in negotiating over the conflict with any Western nation except for the US, Nikolai Patrushev has said. So I'm going to read you a quote from Patrushev, because what he says in this interview is very interesting as he's talking about a Ukraine collapse in 2025. He mentions various regions as he's talking about Ukraine, and maybe this is a hint as to what Russia is looking to achieve in the special military operation with regards to territory. He said, "It is particularly disturbing that violent coercion to adapt a neo-Nazi ideology and rabid Russophobia are destroying the once prosperous cities of Ukraine, including, listen to the cities, including Kharkov, Odessa, Nikolaev, Dnipropetrovsk. It cannot be ruled out that Ukraine will cease to exist altogether this year," Patrushev suggested. "There's nothing to discuss with London or Brussels. The EU leadership, for example, has long lost the right to speak on behalf of many of its members, such as Hungary, Slovakia, Austria, Romania, and several other European countries that are interested in stability in Europe and maintain a balanced position towards Russia," he said. So I find it really interesting, the cities that he talks about when he talks about a Ukraine collapse. Kharkov, Odessa, Nikolaev, Dnipropetrovsk. The cities that have been and are being destroyed by the Alinsky regime and the Bandera ideology. He also talks about the EU. Let's go this way. He talks about the EU member states that do not want to escalate with Russia. He talks about Hungary. He talks about Slovakia, and he mentions Austria and Romania that are interested, he said, in stability in Europe and in not escalating with Russia. Hungary and Slovakia, of course you're going to name those countries that are against escalation with Russia. But he throws in there Austria, which could have very soon a government led by Kiko, who could be aligning with Orban. And then you have Romania. He throws in Romania, and we know what's going on in Romania, don't we? So interesting statement from Patrushev. And Lavrov, he gave a press conference yesterday. He spoke to Russian media as well as foreign media. And Lavrov said many interesting things, as he always does. Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, he said that Bidenopolis is destroying everything on his way out of office. Come on, Lavrov. Why are you dissing Bidenapolis, man? Why are you dissing Bidenapolis, man? Come on. Yeah, he said that Obama did the same thing. He said Obama did the same freaking thing. Lavrov said that when Democrats are in power and then they exit, they always destroy everything before they leave. They cause chaos before they leave. Lavrov also said that the EU has been and continues to be humiliated by the United States. I'm not going to argue with that. Absolutely, the European Union has been completely humiliated by the United States, by the Biden White House. Can you imagine being humiliated by Biden? How does that even work? How can you be humiliated by the Biden White House? Man, that's bad. That is bad. He also said that Germany is not going to get into the UN Security Council. Germany wants to become a Security Council member. And Lavrov said, never going to happen. Lavrov said that countries of BRICS, of the global south, they should get a spot on the Security Council. India is the obvious choice for a seat on the Security Council. And then he was asked about Greenland. His response to Greenland was interesting. Let me read you. Let me put this down here and read you some of the things that Lavrov said. So we begin with his statement on Bidenapolis and the Democrats. The Democrats have such a manner in American politics to spoil the whole thing for the next administration before the end of their mandate, Lavrov said. He noted that the same thing happened before Trump's first term, when outgoing Democratic President Barack Obama banished 120 Russian diplomats from the U.S. and arrested 5 sites of Russian diplomatic property just 3 weeks before his successor's inauguration. He's right. I remember that. I remember when the Obama administration was on the way out and Trump was on the way in, that Obama decided to cause problems with U.S.-Russian relations, to sabotage the Trump administration. Of course, we got Russiagate and the Ukraine-Trump, the Alinsky-Trump phone call and all of that nonsense. So there is a lot of truth to what Lavrov is saying. And he actually said that the oil sanctions, I talked about this yesterday in my video, so I won't go over it again, but he said that the oil sanctions target Russia, they target Serbia, and they target Trump. The very tough Biden oil sanctions. The Biden White House wants to make things very difficult for Serbia. That's what Lavrov was basically getting at. And then he was asked about Greenland, the comment about Greenland, and this is what he said. He said that considering the island's autonomous status, Greenlanders feasibly have a right to self-determination under the UN Charter, as do other peoples. They would not necessarily vote for parting ways with Denmark, and if they do, they may opt for independence rather than join the US, Lavrov pointed out. Russia listened to the opinions of the residents of Crimea, Donbass, and Novorossiya to find out what the attitude to the regime that came in power in an unlawful coup d'etat in Kiev in 2014 was, Lavrov said, referring to referendums in which people in formerly Ukrainian regions voted to break away from Ukraine and join Russia. Very smart. Lavrov is the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time when it comes to diplomats. He is the GOAT. He's right. Crimea was an autonomous republic, an autonomous region, wasn't it? And after the coup d'etat, the overthrow of the democratically elected, internationally recognized democratically elected government of Yanukovych, Lavrov is saying that Russia listened to the people of Crimea. So if Trump goes ahead with Greenland, and I think he absolutely is serious about Greenland, and if Greenlanders say, you know what, it's time for a referendum, a vote. Do we want to be free of Denmark? Not even so much going to the United States. Well, let's just say the first step. Do we want to be free of Denmark and become independent? Because right now, Greenland, from my understanding of things, Greenland is also autonomous, an autonomous territory. If they vote yes, it's very much like Crimea. And then if they decide to join with the United States, it's not the exact same thing, but pretty close to Russia and Crimea, Greenland and the United States. Yeah, Lavrov is right. Lavrov is absolutely right. Anyway, Bidenopolis, he rescinded Cuba's designation as a state sponsor of terrorism. That's what Biden did yesterday. A good move, absolutely a good move, but I don't know, with Biden, what's the angle? I'm always thinking, what's the angle? I'm trying to figure out, where is the 10% for the big guy in all of this? Is there a 10% for the big guy in this move from the Biden White House? Why would he do this? I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. But probably it's about making things tough for Trump. I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments down below? It's a good move. Absolutely a good move. But you know, Biden could have done this earlier in his term. Why did he not do it during the first year of his presidency or the second year? Why did he wait? Why did he wait for until he has 5 days left in office to do this? Why? That's actually kind of a crappy move from Biden, isn't it? To wait 5 days before doing this? I mean, better late than never, I guess, but there must be some angle. I mean, he knows, the Biden White House, they must know that when Trump gets into office, I mean, you're going to have Rubio as your Secretary of State, and he's super hawkish when it comes to Cuba, when it comes to Venezuela as well. I mean, Rubio is super hawkish. So you got to imagine that the Trump White House is going to just roll this back, and they're going to put Cuba back on the list. Al-Jilani is not on the terrorist list anymore, is it? But you have Cuba on there. Really weird. Anyway, yeah, so you got to imagine that Rubio is going to advise Trump to roll back this decision from Biden. Maybe that's the angle. He wants to put the Trump administration in a difficult position. I don't know. Here's a post on X from Jason Hickel. Biden removing Cuba from the state sponsor of terrorism list demonstrates once again that there was never any reason to have them on it in the first place. The sole objective was to strangle the Cuban economy and starve the Cuban people. Just pure evil. I agree with that. This was a very cynical move from Biden, wasn't it? To do it 5 days before he exits. He should have done this 3 years ago. Well, he did it. He did it. That's a good thing, but obviously there's something else at play here. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think is really going on with removing Cuba from the state sponsor of terrorism list or designation. CBS News is reporting that a ceasefire is very close to happening in Gaza. A Biden ceasefire, once again, with Biden having 4 more days left in office. He is finally going to achieve a ceasefire. Biden and Blinkin. Blinkety Blinkin. Blinkin was giving a speech yesterday, and he said, and I quote, "We assess that Hamas has recruited almost as many new militants as it has lost." An admission from Blinkin that nothing worked out the way they said it was going to work out in Gaza. Hamas has not been defeated. Hamas has not been destroyed. That's what Blinkin said yesterday. So, Biden could have done this a year ago. He absolutely had the power to put pressure on Netanyahu and get a ceasefire and avoid the horrific deaths and everything that has happened in Gaza. He could have done this a year ago, but he didn't. Instead, he gave Netanyahu a blank check to do whatever Netanyahu wanted to do. And 5 days before he exits, he now announces that he's very close to a ceasefire. So what's Biden's angle? Well, he wants to announce a ceasefire. This is going to be his big foreign policy achievement on his way out. Netanyahu wants to get a ceasefire before Trump takes office, because for Netanyahu and for Israel, they were doing whatever they wanted with a diminished Biden in office. And Trump coming into office, well, you're going to have someone as president who is not going to give you a blank check. It doesn't mean that Trump is not 100% in support of Israel. It doesn't mean that Trump does not despise Iran. He does. He despises Iran. He despises Hamas. He despises Hezbollah. All of those things. But Trump, his mind is still intact. His brain is still working, and he's not going to just give Netanyahu everything that Netanyahu wants, or at least he'll think about things, unlike the Biden White House, which did absolutely nothing to keep Netanyahu in some sort of a check, some sort of restraint on Netanyahu. They did absolutely nothing. So I guess if you're Netanyahu, you get the deal done before Trump gets into office. And there are reports that Trump and Netanyahu are not getting along at all. So look, good. It's good that we finally get a ceasefire, but my God, Biden could have done this a long time ago, and he decided not to. Another very, very cynical move from Biden. Anyway, that's the news that CBS is reporting. We got news that Trump is going to be creating an external revenue service to collect tariffs. An external revenue service. Nothing to do with the IRS, but everything to do with collecting tariffs. That's going to be the job of this external revenue service. Trump is serious about tariffs, man. He is absolutely serious. Yeah. Tariffs. That's what Trump is going to be focusing on. So, if you're Trump, if you're the Trump administration, this is a huge job that you're going to undertake. The whole tariffs thing is massive. Going after the deep state, if you're serious about that, is massive. The Doge, D-O-G-E, massive undertaking. If you're going to do all of these things, you need to disengage from Project Ukraine, and you need stability in the Middle East. No matter your feelings of Iran and getting into a conflict with Iran, if you're the Trump administration, at least in your first year or two, you need your foreign policy to be calm, because you've got a lot of big things that you want to get done. And one of the big things that Trump wants to get done is tariffs. So China announced a $1 trillion trade surplus. China's trade surplus reaches a record of nearly $1 trillion. China's vast exports in 2024 exceeded its imports on a scale seldom seen anywhere except during or immediately after the two world wars. Tariffs. Trump tariffs, and China announcing $1 trillion trade surplus. Wow, that's a big trade surplus. I thought China was in trouble. I thought they were telling us that China is in big trouble. Doesn't look like it. Well, we'll see what'll happen with the Trump administration and his tariffs policy. We will see what 2025 has in store for us. So I am here at St. Lazarus. I've done many videos from St. Lazarus. This is the final resting place of Lazarus. Lazarus, who Jesus rose from the dead. That Lazarus, St. Lazarus. And the story is that Lazarus, he had to flee Judea after the miracle from Jesus. He had to flee Judea, and he came to Cyprus. He came here to Larnaca. And the second time that he died, this is his final resting place, right here at this church. The final resting place of St. Lazarus. Yeah, Paul and Barnabas, they told Lazarus to flee to Cyprus for protection. Should we go in? Let's try to go in. South Korea, their president was finally arrested or detained, depending on which news outlet you go to. Some news outlets say he was arrested, other news outlets say he was detained. The New York Times says he was detained. South Korea's president is detained for questioning. Yoon Suk-yeol became the first South Korean leader to be detained while in office, ending a tense standoff between his supporters and the authorities. We can't go in. (8 to 12:30, 2:30 it opens again. We just missed it. Oh well. Maybe I'll come back and we'll go inside. So yeah, this is the second time they tried to arrest Yoon. The first time he was being protected by his security services. This time around, Yoon said that he wanted to avoid violence, so he went with the authorities. He's going to be questioned about martial law. I believe the charges could be treason. But we'll see. We'll see how all of this unfolds for Yoon, who was Alinsky cursed. He wanted to get weapons to Ukraine. Yoon under a lot of pressure to get South Korean weapons to the Alinsky regime. So the 20 strongest armies, according to Global Firepower website. You guys seen this list? The 20 strongest armies. Actually, it was a list of all the countries. Not all the countries, or 140 countries, something like that. And this website, Global Firepower, ranked all of their militaries, but it gave us the list of the top 20. Number 1 is the United States. Number 2 is Russia. Number 3 is China. And number 20 is Ukraine. Ukraine is right behind Egypt. Australia, Egypt, Ukraine. Russia, number 2. Russia's got some good shovels. They've got some good shovels, man. Yeah. Washing machine chips. Those washing machine chips. Let's do some clown worlds. Wrap this video up. So Australia is going to have an election, I believe, in May. That's when we're going to have an election in Australia. And Albanese, he is already warning Elon Musk. He's already warning Elon Musk. Stay away. We've got foreign interference laws, says Albanese. Preemptive election interference warnings from Australia. Oh, man. Stay away, Musk. Stay away, Putin. Don't interfere in our elections. I'm warning you. 3 months away from the actual elections. I'm already warning you guys, stay away. Do not interfere. Oh boy. NATO is stepping up patrols in the Baltic Sea. Liz Truss calls it the Black Sea, but it's the Baltic Sea anyway. NATO is going to be stepping up patrols because they're worried about Russian and Chinese ships in the Baltic that cut the communication cables of NATO member states. Across the alliance, we have seen elements of a campaign to destabilize our societies through cyber attacks, assassination attempts, and sabotage, including possible sabotage of undersea cables in the Baltic Sea. Rutte told reporters in Helsinki after NATO's summit of Baltic Sea allies on Tuesday. The gathering brought together leaders from Finland, Poland, Denmark, Germany, Sweden, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. You know, everything that Rutte says in the statement are things that NATO and the collective West does to Russia. Everything that he said here is what they're doing to Russia. He says that they are protecting NATO against cyber attacks, assassination attempts, and sabotage, including possible sabotage of undersea cables in the Baltic Sea. Nord Stream? Hello, Nord Stream? Rutte? Ever heard of the Nord Stream? The Nord Stream pipeline? Assassination attempts, he says. Everything that he listed here is stuff that they're doing to Russia. Their asymmetric war against Russia. Pure projection from Rutte. Wow. So Mr. Beast is saying that, you guys know Mr. Beast? He's a big YouTuber. Big YouTuber, Mr. Beast. He's got like 100 gazillion YouTube subscribers. And he is saying that he is going to buy TikTok. That is what Mr. Beast is now saying. He posted on X interest in buying TikTok, and he said that a bunch of billionaires contacted him and said, yeah, let's do it. Let's buy TikTok. This is after Musk said that, this is after Bloomberg, not Musk. Musk didn't say anything. Bloomberg ran a report, which is probably fake news. I talked about this yesterday, but it looks like Bloomberg was putting out some fake news. Say it ain't so, Bloomberg putting out fake news? Come on. But, yeah. They said that Musk was going to buy TikTok. But China has said that TikTok's not for sale. BitDance and China, they're saying, no, that's not an option. We're not going to sell to a U.S. company, our U.S. operations, just the U.S. operations. So we're not going to sell them to anybody. So it looks like the Bloomberg report was fake news, and most likely this Mr. Beast purchase is also fake news, because BitDance in China, from my understanding, is not going to sell TikTok to anybody. But the new app, the TikTok replacement app, also Chinese, which is called Xiaohongshu, or is it Redbook or Red Note? I don't know which one it is, Redbook or Red Note. As I said in my video update yesterday, it's the #1 downloaded app. Another Chinese app has replaced TikTok. And this one doesn't even have U.S. operations, from my understanding. This is straight from China, this app. So, the banning of TikTok seems to have backfired big time, because now the #1 short video application is Redbook or Red Note, which is straight from China. You're not going to be able to ban that one so easily, are you? Because I don't think it has any U.S. operations to ban. Anyway, Kim Kardashian, where's the clown world in all of this? I don't know where the clown world in all of this is, but Kim Kardashian, she's joined Redbook or Little Book or Red Little Book I'm seeing here. I don't know what the translation is, what the proper name for this app is, but she's joined it now. Yep. I don't know. Is this working out for China, the fact that you have this replacement app? Or is this bad news for China and Chinese youth? Are they going to start being exposed to Kim Kardashian now? I don't know. Anyway, that's I don't even know if this is a clown world. Whatever. that's the video, everybody. What a beautiful area, huh? What a beautiful area. That's the video, the Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, like the t-shirt that I'm wearing in this video with the flag of Bulgaria. Yeah, flag of Bulgaria. I will see everybody tomorrow. The link to the Duran shop is in the description box down below. Take care. Okay, I'm back. I'm hanging out with the cats, waiting for the church to open. I think it's time to see if we can enter. Let's see. Let's go inside. St. Lazarus. I think we can film inside the church. We'll see. If they tell me to stop filming, I will stop filming. I always get a bit nervous. I just don't feel it's right to go inside of a church with a camera, but I do want to show everybody the inside of this beautiful church.